Boston Celtics last year were 36-36. They finished with the 7th seed. They were a play-in team, but this was a team that was struck by injuries, the COVID bug. We know Jaylen Brown right now is out with quarantine.
He has COVID, yeah.
He's quarantined. He has COVID. So this possibly could affect them because I think I read somewhere that the Celtics, they're not fully vaccinated, so this could linger on throughout the season. But let's assume it doesn't. They got Kanter, Schroeder, Al Horford, Josh Richardson, and Juancho Hernan-Gomez, but they lost Kemba, Tristan Thompson, Fournier, Ojale for whatever that's worth, and Carson Edwards. But they did lose Taco Fall. Now, that's a big move, right? Losing Taco Fall. Where do you see the Boston Celtics being this year? If they're fully healthy, let's say Tatum and Brown are playing the entire year, how good can they be?
This is it's crazy because Boston is a dangerous team when they play at their best. But they're also one of those teams that can play under, they don't play to the best of their abilities. Injuries did plague them last year. COVID really hit this team hard. They built up depth. They lost Kemba Walker, but they brought in Dennis Schroeder. They have Marcus Smart, Josh Richardson. Peyton Pritchard's still a really good player. Aaron Nesmith, Romeo Lanford. They got some burn in the playoffs, and you saw they played good when they played, So this is a team that's going to be led heavily by JB and JT, and both of them are capable of doing it. I like the team, and I like the starting five. Al Horford, he's old at this point, but I think Robert Williams has established that starting five spot as being that defensive anchor. He's a strong defensive player that can catch lobs. He can defend. He can defend the pick and roll, which is something you need in this game. My biggest thing is that bench. We know the starters: Smart, JB, JT, Robert Williams. They're probably going to start Josh Richardson, so we know the starters.
Al Horford, you don't think will start?
I think Robert Williams should start at this point in his career. I think he's established that starting five spot. But even off the bench, you got Pritchard, you got Dennis Schroeder, young guys. You got Aaron Nesmith, Al Horford. It's like
not young, but he's a guy.
Yeah, young guys in terms of in the NBA. So it's like it's going to be tough. But I think this team has developed that. Brad Stevens moving up, Ime Udoka being the head coach. I think he's going to bring a different vibe, a different energy to this team. Brad Stevens, I think he's better suited for the spot he's in right now. But I like this team. I think this team, the ceiling is about a 4th or a 5th seed. I think with JB and JT, you can never count them out. But if one guy goes down, I feel like that's a big blow. And we saw it last year, they dropped all the way into the play-in and they had to fight to get in. Mm-hmm. I think their floor obviously is a play-in team. This team is a team that gets hurt. This team is a team that's been dealing with COVID. And Dennis Schroeder, coming off of, not a great playoff series, okay, but, not that good playoff series. What is he going to be in his new role? Marcus Smart being the point guard. How is he going to be in his new role, being the number one guy, the lead playmaker? That's going to be tough. But nonetheless, I still think this team is talented enough to be at the ceiling. They are 4th or 5th in their floor playing.
Off rip, Tatum and JB, it's one of the better duos in our league. With those two alone, they could be a top seed in the East for sure. Not a top 2. They could be a 3 in my opinion. I just think with Jason Tatum solidifying himself as on the cusp of being a top 10 player. People talk about Jason Tatum as being around that 9, 10, 11 list range of best players in the league. It's not far-fetched. Look at his offensive game. He has every trick up his sleeve. His post game is amazing. His shot is amazing. His shot off the dribble is amazing. Tatum can do it all offensively. He has that type of bag. Now you look at Jaylen Brown, Jaylen Brown has a good bag too. He's one of the more underappreciated players. One thing that stuck out to me when you guys made that Bradley Beal, is he top 20? You guys said JB, and people had a stroke about it. Go watch JB play. JB defensively is as I don't want to say underrated because people know Jaylen Brown's defense is amazing.
And Celtics fans, we'll just ask them in the comments right now. Put down your opinion in the comments. If you're a Celtics fan, would you trade Jaylen Brown for Bradley Beal? I guarantee
oh my God,
90% would say no.
Yeah, straight up too. No, not extra, straight up.
It just doesn't make any sense to do that, especially the fact that JB and JT have been coming up together. They've had already some postseason success. Why would you try and break that up? I don't see that happening. But regardless of that, I do have concerns with the depth. Like you mentioned, you get to the bench. Sure, Peyton Pritchard I do believe he'll have an impact this season, but who really knows the true impact of it until you see him play. I mean, last season was his rookie year. He really didn't do all too much.
He was good.
Agreed. He definitely had his moments, but it wasn't anything significant where you could think, all right, this guy's up next. We really got a chance with this guy. I think in Summer League he showed a little bit of that for sure, and I'm not sold on it until I see it. Al Horford, I think that was a really good pickup for them. Last year, they desperately needed a big, and that's why I say when you say Robert Williams is going to start at the 5, he has earned that. But at the same time, I think he's just undersized to play the 5 consistently. I think they realized that last season, and that's why they went out and got Al Horford back. I think Al Horford is going to play for be in the starting lineup. I just would not be surprised if you're right. Robert does play the 5, come offense, but defense. You need that size down low.
Horford is 2 inches taller.
I think offensively, you take Horford though.
Yeah.
No,
I think it's the opposite. I think defensively,
at the 5
Williams.
Yeah.
I think
Al
defensively,
Horford
you take
offers more
Williams.
spacing right now
But that's why Al Horford offers more spacing.
on offense.
That's why I say you play him at the
But
4.
defense, you got to he's old.
I just don't think you can play a 2 big man lineup in today's NBA and be
Not
effective.
with those two.
And that's fair. That's fair. But the thing is, they were getting killed down low. That's the only reason why I automatically go to that. But I can understand why you'd have Al Horford come off the bench. He would give you solid minutes off the bench. And same thing with Enes Kanter.
I think they're gonna get killed down low, whether it's Williams, Horford, and we all know what Kanter is.
I hate Grant Williams.
And Grant Williams is more of a PJ Tucker mold player. He's not gonna guard your 5s. He'll do an okay job, but he won't do much. The Celtics, their bench is fine to me. Pritchard to me showed me that he can be a solid backup point guard for years to come, and maybe even blossom into a starter role. Not a high end starter.
Smart.
But he just plays the game, and I think
Got a good shot.
he's a complementary player. He can play
For sure.
with stars and, just be a contributor. I think Dennis Schroeder has something to prove this season. I think he's going to be in the 6th man of the year running for the entire year.
And real quick, for the contract that they got him for, that was
of course,
a steal.
that's a great contract. I think Schroeder is going to prove himself to get a contract that he wants to sign this upcoming offseason. But also Horford. Great signing, whether he starts or he comes off the bench. I think just getting him in the building was an awesome move. If one of these guys goes down, now you have Enes Kanter, who we know when he plays enough minutes, he's a double-double machine. It's really about Aaron Nesmith off the bench. And even him developing into a better player to be that starter, I don't think the Celtics are feeling also confident in Josh Richardson being your starter. And, he's limited as a floor spacer. He's good in isolation. He's an okay defender. But really, ever since he's left Miami, he's dropped off every single season. In Miami, we viewed him as, wow, this could be a guy, potential-wise. Now, we don't view him in that same light. I think Aaron Nesmith has to develop for him to take that starting job because he's a guy who in college shot above 40% from 3. A guy like that next to Tatum and Brown, I think that fits their game much more better than Josh Richardson. My real question is, can they stay healthy? Can JB stay healthy? Can Horford being older? Richardson dealt with the injury bug. Second concern, how good will Marcus Smart be at the 1? Is he going to make that transition that's up in the air right now? And how much better will their bench be? I think it'll be better, but how much better? Is it enough to make up for the discrepancy that they lacked last season?
Yep.
And also, is size still going to be an issue? Robert Williams, 6'8", Horford, 6'10", maybe generous, probably around 6'9", and has no vertical. Is size going to be their issue in their downfall? Because I think teams with centers that are at least all-star caliber look at the Boston Celtics and say, this is a 20 and 15 night for you.
Yeah. Now, I look at the Celtics floor, and I'm not seeing them anything lower than the 8 seed. I mean, sure, the injuries hit them. That's why I have them going into that category. But they showed that they still will be dominant, win that play-in game, and still roll right into the playoffs. So I have no doubts that they're going to make the playoffs. The play-in at the minimum. I do believe that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown will do more than enough to not even have to worry about that. I think that Jason Tatum is going to prove to everyone that he is that guy. He is that type of offensive powerhouse that he has already shown to be. I just want to see it on the defensive side. We know that Jaylen Brown's he's going to bring it every night defensively. Jason Tatum's a solid defender, but I want to see him really take pride in playing defense. Because Marcus Smart, that's basically all he does. Obviously, he does other things in terms of facilitating. He has a decent shot. But really, his primary focus is defense. If they could hone in on defense, then maybe they really can make some noise and make a run in the Eastern Conference.